The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, this is Matthew Jones with Tourism Victoria. Thank you very much for taking your time out of your busy schedules to join us today, this afternoon. What we're presenting shortly is going to be, there's nothing like an Australian journey, so you'll be hearing about a bunch of different journey options throughout the great states of Australia, including Tourism Victoria, of course, myself, the Northern Territory, South Australia and Western Australia. My name, as I said, is Matthew Jones. You'll be hearing from Amanda Ladd from the Northern Territory, Lisa Cohen from South Australia, and Sandy Nerlich from Tourism Western Australia. Everybody is muted at this time. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask us at the end of the presentation or email us, as each of us have our contact details after each slide, after each of our presentations. Or there's also a chat function on your WebEx here. So thank you very much for attending, and I'm just going to jump straight into it now. As I said, please hold. There we go. We're away. So I'm going to be talking about a self-driving trip through Victoria that can also connect to the lovely state of South Australia or loop back into Melbourne. It will be featuring the Great Southern Touring Route. But just wanted to highlight again and reinforce for you guys where Melbourne is located. It's the smallest mainland state of Australia. Melbourne, Victoria is a great starting point for any trip to Australia, as we have direct flights on Qantas on the A380 daily, and then also 3 times a week with Virgin Australia. So you fly directly into Melbourne. Great starting point for your trips, or it can be a finishing point too, depending on how you want to structure your client's itineraries. But today we're going to be focusing on a specific area of Victoria. We're going to be concentrating on the Great Southern Touring Route, which is located along Region 6, where you can see there, and that's where our iconic 12 Apostles are located. So this is a map of what I'll be discussing here. What you can see is Melbourne along the Great Ocean Road to Cape Otway will be one point that I'll be talking about coming up. And then across you'll see Warrnambool and Port Fairy to the bottom left of your screen. That'll be another stopping point there. And at this point you can go off to break off and continue on to South Australia on Adelaide, or you can go up to the Grampians and continue on to Adelaide that way. The Grampians is great for wildlife, and you'll be seeing some fantastic images through there. So that is another night that you can include in your itinerary there for your client. So it could be a 3-night self-drive itinerary. Then you have the option of driving back to Melbourne or stopping in the Ballarat Goldfields there, which is very important to me, as that's actually my hometown. I'm originally from Ballarat, Victoria. I've been living in the United States now close to 8 years. Fantastic place for your clients to visit, Ballarat. I was just there 2 weeks ago, checking in with Mum, of course. And if you have any questions or queries about Victoria, please don't hesitate to contact me. But let's jump into the itinerary. Self-drive is fantastic for Victoria. We are, as I said, the smallest mainland state in Victoria. These are some of the views that you'll see along the Great Ocean Road. So this is, when you drive out to Melbourne, continue on the road down to Cape Otway, these are the views that your clients will be experiencing. It's been rated one of the top drives in the world, and for this main reason here, for this imagery that you can see. So along the Great Ocean Road, you can stop at Cape Otway, where you can stay at the Both Feet Walking Lodge. So this has some beautiful trails along boardwalks along the Great Ocean Road. Fantastic accommodation for your clients to stay in. There's also another accommodation that you can stay at Cape Otway called the Great Ocean Road Eco Lodge. That has a koala conservation sanctuary and a tiger quoll conservation sanctuary. Beautiful locations. Both of these properties are fantastic. You can book these with confidence. They're loaded with all your preferred wholesale partners as well. So don't be hesitant in including a self-drive and staying at the Both Feet Walking Lodge or the Great Ocean Road Eco Lodge. Once you've stayed there, this is what you're looking for. This is the sunset for the 12 Apostles, which is just a short 30-minute drive from your first night's accommodation at Cape Otway. This is from the ground that you can see the 12 Apostles. Next image here is a helicopter tour of the 12 Apostles. I would highly recommend this to pre-book this for your clients the helipad at the 12 Apostles is Australia's busiest helipad. There is helicopters taking off every 7 minutes. You have options between doing a 15-minute flight or a 30-minute flight. So see if you can pre-book this for your clients, as they will do it when they're down there. So you might as well get it pre-booked so you can get some of that commission for yourselves. This is also loaded with all your wholesale partners. Everything that I'll be talking about here is bookable and commissionable product for you. So after driving along and experiencing the 12 Apostles, this is another aerial shot for you that you can see the fantastic limestone stacks that make up the 12 Apostles. Once you get along to Warrnambool, Port Fairy, which is the area that I talked about that you're able to break off and continue on to Adelaide, Warrnambool is fantastic for whale watching, of course, and a great place to stay in the Warrnambool Port Fairy area is Oscar's, is a fantastic boutique restaurant hotel that your clients will thoroughly enjoy. It's a fantastic location. So keep Warrnambool on the radar. There's also a great product called Tower Hill there, which is a great walking trail, great wildlife area. But as you can see from the map here, we're at the bottom here of Port Fairy, Warrnambool, and then you can continue north to Dunkeld, Grampians area. So the Grampians National Park is a beautiful area. The Royal Mail Hotel. Now this is probably something you may have heard of. The Royal Mail Hotel is more commonly known for its restaurant. It's a 3 Michelin star hat restaurant. The only one in Australia that's located regionally at the Royal Mail Hotel, so it gets a lot of interest internationally. Many articles have been written about the Royal Mail, but they also have a very nice 4-star accommodation, as you can see here. I would highly recommend that you consider using the Royal Mail Hotel as your accommodation while you're in the Grampians. And of course, taking a meal at the Royal Mail is a must-do. But here's some beautiful images that you can see of the Grampians here. This is the Pinnacles, which is a walking track that is the highlight of the Grampians. So beautiful wildlife, nature that you can see throughout the Grampians. As you can see, you've seen the coastline along the Great Ocean Road. Now you're going inland to see the bushwalking trails and the forests that make up the Grampians National Park. Of course, in any national park in Australia, of course, you'll get up close and personal with the wildlife. We also have an Aboriginal Cultural Centre located in the national park called Brambuck. This is a traditional Victorian Aboriginal community here that will be able to explain the Aboriginal ways throughout Victoria to your clients when they're down there. This is also included and commissionable for entry for your clients to do self-drive. There'll be interpretive dance included. They'll learn how to throw a boomerang, how to throw a spear, and learn the ways of the Aboriginal community. Then, of course, Mackenzie Falls, beautiful hiking waterfalls that you can see throughout the Grampians. So as you can see, beautiful location, stunning backdrops to your clients' trips along the Great Ocean Road, then up to Grampians. Now this is where you can have the options here of either continuing straight back to Melbourne, or you can continue on to Adelaide from the Grampians, which is a very popular route. I should also highlight that you can also fly from Warrnambool into Adelaide is an option for your clients. There's a little bit of difference if they don't want to drive the whole way. Or you can go to my hometown, Ballarat, and go see Sovereign Hill, which is an outdoor museum. This goes back to the goldfields time in the 1800s, which is really the birthplace of Australia. At one point, Melbourne was Australia's richest city. It was purposely designed to facilitate all the gold transactions that were found in Ballarat. So the goldfields is very important to Australia's history, and this is a place where you'll be able to learn about that. There's also a Eureka Museum, which is the industrial revolution of Australia. The Eureka stockade was the uprising of the miners looking for a fair wage from the unions. So steep in history Ballarat, Victoria is. One of the accommodation options that you have there is Craig's Royal Hotel. Very nice hotel located centrally in Ballarat in a historical building here, as you can see in the Craig's Royal Hotel. Located a short hour to an hour and 10 minutes outside of Melbourne is Ballarat. So you can then continue on back into Melbourne to your traditional city stays, or continue on to your next port in Australia. So these are my contact details. My name is Matthew Jones, Marketing Manager of Tourism Victoria. And I'm going to pass you on to the lovely Amanda Ladd for the Northern Territory, and she's going to take you through the outback.
Great, thanks so much, Matt. Kind of continuing on this trend, we're also going to talk about a driving route in the territory to the heart of Australia and through the outback. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Here's a map. Just wait for it to load here. There we are. These are the main points in the Northern Territory. You have Uluru Ayers Rock, probably our most iconic location. You have the outback township of Alice Springs. You have definitely the true outback in Tennant Creek. Then you head up to the top end of Catherine, Kakadu, and Darwin with the gorgeous waterfalls and coastlines. And what we're going to talk about is Explorer's Way. It actually starts in Alice and ends in Darwin. We recommend, of course, adding on Uluru. So to get started, Uluru Ayers Rock, as I mentioned, probably our most popular destination in the heart of Australia. Many consider it to be the spiritual heart of the country. How to get there? You can fly into Ayers Rock Airport. You can fly via Qantas, Virgin, or Jetstar. Sydney is the most popular hub for that. And you also can fly in from Cairns or Alice Springs. So once you're in Uluru, you have a lot of touring options. You can do base walks. You can do the camel tours. They also have, you can do sunrise to sunset camel tours, which is great because behind the camels you see Catajuda, and of course above that you see Ayers Rock. And what's great is that the outback really serves as a canvas. So if you're doing a sunrise or a sunset tour, you actually are able to see the colors change with these magnificent landmarks as a backdrop. So it really is a stunning experience to really see the red center at sunrise or sunset. And then during the day you can do your base walks around the base of Uluru. It's quite far, so plan accordingly, bring lots of water. And then of course to the right you have Kings Canyon, very great way to transfer back into Alice Springs. So you can head from Uluru to Alice Springs via Kings Canyon, and you get a really nice sense of that real center part of the red center there. And then generally you're going to head in, like I said, into Alice Springs. It is our outback township. And how to get to Alice, a lot more options for flying in. You have Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, and Brisbane, so a lot of options there to get in. You also have the Gone. If you decide to take the train journey from Adelaide up to Alice, you're able to kind of experience a bit of both worlds. So let's say you wanted to do the Great Ocean Road and then you continue into Adelaide, you can head right up on into the Northern Territory and continue your journey. So Alice Springs, to the top left picture here, you're going to see Alice Springs itself. And then around you're going to see some great touring options just within a day trip, which is great. In the bottom you have Rainbow Valley on the right there with the four-wheel drive, and you also have Palm Valley. Really unique experiences. Rainbow Valley is actually stunning with the change of scenery. There's quite a bit of colors that come out in that landscape, which is why it's called Rainbow Valley, so highly recommended to check that out. And then, of course, above it, you have your camels here as well. Experience Alice Springs in the outback from atop a camel. Definitely unique experience. And you also have the Lara Pinta Trail, which starts in Alice Springs. And the Lara Pinta Trail is one of the great walks of Australia. There are many segments you can do. You can be gone anywhere from an hour to a few days. So if you have guests that really want to do some iconic experiences while they're traveling through the NT, the Lara Pinta Trail is a great option for that. From Alice, as you can see, you're going to head right up into Tennant Creek, which is that yellow region there. Tennant Creek is definitely quirky, and you get some outback characters in Tennant Creek. And you also have a bit of mining history. As Matt mentioned, with Victoria, gold is really important to the history of Australia. And Tennant Creek was actually the location of Australia's last gold rush in the 1930s. So a lot of history there. Historical mining town. You can go down into the mines. You can also go to the telegraph station. And then, of course, you have the Devil's Marbles. They're called Karlu Marbles or the Devil's Marbles, and you have both of those images to the right. They're actually stacked on top of each other, and the indigenous history, they say that it's the eggs of the rainbow serpent. So there's a lot of history and culture in Tennant Creek, and of course, you have some definite outback characters. So it's a great place to stop if you are going to be doing a self-drive. Along with Dolly Waters, which is the left, you have Dolly Waters Pub. It was actually voted by Australians as the best pub in Australia. As you can see, quite quirky, quite unique, but definitely worth a stop. And you also have the Mataranka thermopools to the right. So it is naturally heated. You can stop there, stop for a swim. So some great options there right in the center of the territory. And then off into Catherine in the top end. Catherine, of course, great for those that want to really experience and be adventurous in the outback. You can do canoeing and kayaking. You can swim in the many waterfalls. There are 13 gorges in Nipmuc National Park. That's just one of the national parks in Catherine. You can do dinner cruises, which I hear are absolutely spectacular. The food on them is really stellar, so they're definitely worth checking out as you're cruising through the gorges. There's also some fantastic walking trails. I believe it's something like 13 miles is just one of the walking trails, so really something to check out if people are looking for that, immersion and that connecting with the outback. We also had a new lodge that just opened in March. It's the Cicada Lodge, and to the left you see some images of the lodge. Really nice accommodations. It's fantastic. It's in the center. It's right along the gorge in Catherine, so the touring out of this lodge is quite good. So that is really one of the points to this lodge, is that the touring is so convenient and so fantastic. They also have a Mark Olive inspired menu, and they have seasoned crocodile tail, which you'll see at the bottom. This is the signature dish for the lodge. So the food there is also quite good, so definitely check it out. You're able to sit out on the deck and enjoy your dinner and see a sunset. So that's a new accommodation option in Catherine. Then up into Kakadu, very popular destination for those looking for Aboriginal rock art. As you can see from this following slide, it is there and it abounds. It is just as stunning in person as it is in these images, and if not more, because the magnitude of it and how preserved it is just fantastic. You're able to connect into Arnhem Land. The majority of this region is owned by the traditional landowners, and so there is quite a bit of Aboriginal touring you can do. A lot of our Indigenous champions in the Northern Territory are based in the Kakadu Arnhem Land region in the top end, so some great touring out of there. And of course, there's also some great accommodations. You have Wildman Wilderness Lodge, you have Barroo Plains, and you have Davidson's Arnhem Land Safari, so there is some great accommodation in that region as well. And then finishing up in Darwin, our tropical capital, the only tropical capital in Australia. Very diverse because of its proximity to Asia. There is a lot of Asian influence, so it's really unique. A lot of cultures in Darwin. It really is a mixing pot. So getting there, again, here are the different options for getting there. You can fly via Qantas, Virgin, Jetstar. Again, the GON, if you decide to go up from Alice Springs to Darwin, you're able to take the GON, or vice versa. You could do this itinerary in reverse, and you could start in Darwin and then go into Alice Springs, and the same with the self-drive. You can just go the opposite direction. And so in Darwin, what you have to the right, these are my favorite. So to the right, you have a couple holding a baby crocodile, and then you have a gentleman swimming with one. It's called Crocosaurus Cove. You're able to go into what they call the cage of death. Now, I know it sounds daunting. Don't let it deceive you. You are in a cylindrical container, so you aren't actually in with the crocs, but it's kind of our response to, swimming with the great whites, and it's a really cool experience. You're able to go in and swim with them. You're able to, interact. You're able to feed them, actually. They have fishing rods you can feed them meat from. You can also hold the baby croc. So it's a really cool experience, as we do have a 1-to-1 croc ratio in the NT. So it's a great place to get your crocodile fix. You also have gorgeous sunsets in the top end. In the center bottom picture, there's a woman cooking, and that's the Mindle Beach Sunset Markets. They are open now, so highly recommended to go check those out. You're going to have some, traditional foods from the top end. You're going to have some great fruit that's locally grown, and you're going to have a magnificent sunset as your backdrop. Really cool experience. Highly recommended to check that out. And there's some great dining in Darwin too. You have Darwin Sailing Club. You can look straight out over the water. The Cullen Bay Marina. They actually have some great restaurants there. That one of the restaurants, actually, you're able to sit on the deck, and every single table has a view of the marina, and that's how a lot of Cullen Bay restaurants are set up. So it really is scenic. So definitely check that out. And then for any more information, you can go to Australia's outback.com, and we actually have an option on there, and it shows you all the different self-drive itineraries and where you can stop along the way. So you're able to, so if you have clients looking to do that, this is a great way for you to help them plan it. And of course, you can book everything ahead of time, knowing the destinations they want to see. There are 5 total self-drives. The one we talked about was Explorer's Way, because it does go from the Red Center to the top end, but there are two in the top end and 2 in the Red Center. And you can also start on the various self-drives. Some of them start in Adelaide, some of them start in Queensland, some of them start in WA. So there is a lot of diversity there in terms of how people want to travel. And there's also Tourism Central Australia and Tourism Top End, which can further help you as they specialize in each of those destinations. So if you need to contact me, my name is Amanda. I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator for NT in the Americas. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Lisa from South Australia.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Hey everyone, I'm Lisa. I'm based in Los Angeles here with the South Australian Tourism Commission and wanted to give you an overview of some of the great journeys in South Australia. So taking a look at the map here, you'll see where the capital city of Adelaide is located and the coastline. And that's a big focus that I think everyone's focusing on today is the self-drive journeys. So to kind of piggyback off of what Matt started, we'll take a look at the extension of the Great Ocean Road, and you can actually just directly access that to the capital city of Adelaide. But for those that maybe want to start in South Australia, you can't fly direct, unfortunately, so you'd have to connect through one of the gateways, either Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, or Darwin as well. So you can start your journey there and then continue on into South Australia. Just an overview of Adelaide, the capital city itself. This is a great, place to start your journey. There's plenty of car rentals that are here, and it's a really accessible and easily drivable city. It's on a grid system, very much like New York in the sense that, there's the lateral layout here. So it's very, very easy to navigate, and the highways and connecting to the out regions is very, very easy to do. But let's take a look at, the Great Ocean Road if you were to continue onward. These are just some of the highlights here. So if you were to continue to go along the coast, there are a number of stops. One is the World Heritage listed Naracoorte Caves in the National Park. There are 26 limestone caves that have these fossilized skeletons of giant marsupials animals from prehistoric times. It's a really fascinating way for those that want to kind of get out of the car and dig a little bit deeper. And you'll see here a picture of the giant prawn. That's sort of an icon for those that are road tripping in the area here. People like to stop and take photos, and that's how you know that you're on your way into South Australia. But you'll see the coastlines here, and you'll pass through some of the wine regions, and it really just continues on that blue crystal waters, gorgeous scenery. And you'll continue on to the Floreal Peninsula. But from Rove, you'll drive through Kingston, where this is where the seafood capital is in this region. So you can canoe or kayak. There's these shallow, salty lagoons of the Coorong, which is home to a ton of birds. So people that really enjoy birding will enjoy this area as well. But as you can see here, there are a number of aquatic activities. You can hop on a boat to go get some prawns. You can even jump in the water yourself to go harvest them. Or for divers as well, there are all these underwater caves for those that are really, really serious into it and want something a little bit off the beaten path. Not necessarily, diving in the Great Barrier Reef. There's something unusual over here as well to offer along your journey. And as I mentioned, you'll discover the Floreal Peninsula on your drive into Adelaide, which is probably one of the most gorgeous parts of this drive. There are cliff top walks that explore the streets there. There's fishing that you can do, as well as hiking part of the Hasten Trail, which is sort of an epic trekking journey, and it begins in this part of South Australia, and it actually goes all the way up to the outback. So for those that are really, really into walking expeditions and walking safaris, this is sort of your starting point into that, and you can kind of just see the really dramatic coastlines that make for a fantastic journey. And eventually you'll be traveling up into the McLaren Vale wine region, and there's probably 45 cellar doors in this region. It's probably one of the most underrated wine regions for South Australia. But since, if you're venturing up north into Adelaide, this is something that you definitely want to stop into. This is where you would, stock up on olive oils, cheeses, a lot of great almonds and local berries come here. The first farmers market in South Australia in Wollonga is located here, and a lot of fantastic wine is produced as well, and local craft beers. It's a really up-and-coming, cool little farm stand, agricultural little center and wine region for South Australia. So it's definitely something that you should stop and enjoy. And eventually you'll make your way up into Adelaide. This is where you can spend a good day or the afternoon, stretch your legs, go for a walk on North Terrace, maybe take a bike ride through the streets. You'll see the river that cuts through here. There's some fantastic paths here, with the museums, parklands surrounding, maybe stop at the Central Market, grab yourself some local produce and enjoy the sunset. But to continue the idea of journeys, you really can't ignore the large outback portion that makes up South Australia. You'll see in the photo here that the orange is all outback territory. And this is a really popular destination for those that like to self-drive and make their way up. But in addition to driving, I believe Amanda mentioned the GON, which takes you all the way from Adelaide to Darwin. So you could either start in Darwin and come back down into Adelaide, or you could do the reverse. But there are some really interesting stops along the way when you're in South Australia. One of those is Coober Pedy. Now, Coober Pedy is a really, really quirky destination. As you can see, it kind of looks like the surface of the moon. This is where they filmed Mad Max, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. You know, people are always looking to unearth the world's most extraordinary experiences. So people that come to this part of the outback can really take it literally and go underground in the opal capital of the world, which is Coober Pedy. It has over 70 working opal fields, so travelers have an opportunity to actually get down into the mines there and grab a torch and a hand pick and head and do some excavating of their own. And one of those places that you're able to do that is through the Desert Cave Hotel, which is an entirely dug-out retreat with cave-like sandstone walls that create this really cool, calm shelter with really high ceilings. And the owner, Robert Cora, we've dubbed him the caveman, but he, you know, this place is really spectacular, and he has quite a few jokes about you know, just being able to sleep underground. And some people may not be, you know, comfortable not being able to see their own hands at night, but you can stay. There are plenty of rooms above ground as well that you can see here. But they run the Down and Dirty Opal Tour, which is a photo here where you can actually get down in the caves and try to you know, take a stab at finding opals on your own. And you can just really, there's a lot of local characters that you'll learn from. These are people that have been living there for years, and this is, you know, a really interesting industry to take a part of. But in addition to Coober Pedy, the outback is really known for the Flinders Ranges region. So you'll see here Wilpena Pound, which is a giant monolith with a great Aboriginal history. And this is a huge destination for people that are self-driving, you know, from Adelaide. It's about maybe 4.5, 5 hours up north. But this is where you'll get to see a lot of the outback and the wildlife that lives there. So there's tons of emus, kangaroos, yellow-footed rock wallabies, hundreds of species of birds. You know, it's a really, really rich paradise and an interesting place to kind of get a sense of the ancient landscape. And bushwalking safaris and walking tours are probably the most popular thing to do here, in addition to four-wheel drives. It's really an opportunity to kind of get the sights and sounds of the outback with a guided tour to be able to spot and identify everything that's around you. One of the best ways to see it as well is through scenic flights and hot air balloon rides, so you can kind of take it up in the air, get an aerial view of just how vast and gorgeous this landscape is. And then four-wheel drives are popular as well. There are tons of gorges. You kind of go off-roading through the gum trees and then try to spot the wildlife in their natural habitat there. So it's a really fun way for people to kind of just get out there and have a rugged experience. And as I had mentioned, walking tours are probably the most popular. This is Arkava Station, which is one of probably, you know, a few accommodations that offer a product such as this. But they have expert guides that know this region in and out. They know exactly where they need to go to find, you know, that family of wallabies, or they knew where that, you know, pack of kangaroos were hiding behind the trees there. So they take pride in being able to showcase you the best. And the accommodations are so comfortable. It's one of the luxury lodges in South Australia. So you have this private dining experience. It's all inclusive. You have this gorgeous homestead where you can just relax. All of your beverages are included, so you have some, you know, fine Barossa Shiraz or Riesling, sit back on the porch, watch the sunset. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this in the outback. And then last but not least, no journey to South Australia would be complete without a visit to Kangaroo Island, which is known as Australia's Galapagos. You know, this is where the wildlife is in the wild. This is the zoo without fences. And it's just a really rich paradise for people to come travel to. And there are a number of experiences that you can do. One of the most popular here is Seal Bay, where you can walk along a colony of sea lions. So you have an expert guide that takes you down, and this is their natural habitat. This isn't a zoo of any kind. This is where they naturally reside, and they sun themselves and they swim in the waves. So it's great for families and kids that want to kind of see them jump around in the waters. And then also just the bushland walking experiences are a huge part. You really want to get out of the vehicle and into the land there, and the guided touring is probably some of the better options. People do self-drive, and they can, but I think to know exactly where you need to go to find that pack of, you know, kangaroos, or which gum trees by the river the koala family has been hiding, you know, you really want to rely on these experts who know how to deal with wildlife. I mean, these are not contained animals, so it's always great to have someone to be able to help guide you on site there. And four-wheel drive, as I had mentioned, is a great opportunity to be able to just kind of stop at your leisure. And the island is pretty big, so you can within 3 hours you go east to west. It's about the size of Long Island, so there's plenty to see and do. And you could spend, I would recommend at least 2 or 3 nights to really get a sense of Kangaroo Island as a whole and kind of see all those spots that you should discover. And then for the luxury traveler, one of the journeys that you can do to actually get to Kangaroo Island is to sail directly. So this is a luxury yacht product. It's Kangaroo Island Sailing, and they can pick you up in Adelaide. You drive down the coastline to the marina, and they will sail you over directly to Kangaroo Island before you begin any of your adventures there. So things like this include, barbecuing on the deck. All your meals are included, all of your drinks. So it has award-winning wines and teas and beers, plenty of snack time, and you spend a good portion of your morning and early afternoon just seeing the beautiful coastline. You can even do some fishing off the boat if you want. The captain will let you take over and sail your way across the water. And then the final destination, which is a journey in itself that I think many have on their bucket list, is to stay at Southern Ocean Lodge, which it's about an hour and a half from once you get to Kangaroo Island. So it's an hour and a half drive, and you come to this beautiful vista. And it's located, as you can see here, along the coastline, which just dramatic cliffs, private stretches of beaches. 2 nights minimum here, but people will always want to stay at least 3 or 4 if they have the ability to, and it has a great spa. So it's a nice way to relax. So, South Australia as a whole really offers everything from adventure to the wine regions, and then the wildlife and the discovery of the rugged landscape that's so diverse in South Australia on Kangaroo Island. But please feel free to use southaustralia.com as a resource. It has plenty of itineraries there, some great self-drive journeys, some top 10 things to do in all the regions that are there. And we have an updated manual that's coming out, so we're happy to send you the updated product list as we get them in the next few months or so. So please feel free to get in touch with any questions at all. My contact info is listed there below, and hope to welcome your clients down to South Australia soon. So with that, I will pass that over to Sandy for Western Australia.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Welcome to Perth, Western Australia. Perth is the gateway to our state. And just to reiterate for those who do not know, that in order to get access to Perth, you're best to travel through some of our gateway cities, such as Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, Cairns, Brisbane, and definitely we have domestic access from Darwin as well. All carriers service Western Australia: Qantas, Air New Zealand, Qatar Airways for the Middle East carrier. And recently, Virgin Australia definitely services the region, but they recently purchased one of our large domestic carriers known as SkyWest. So should be easier for you booking Virgin Australia through fares throughout the state. This is an example of the state itself. We're 4 times the size of the state of Texas, to put it in perspective. And what we're talking today about are the contrast of the state and the experiences one can take and journeys to be had in and around Australia, and in particularly in my case, Western Australia. You can see by the colored map there, we've got the 5 colors of the regions, and I'm just going to kind of go through some of the programs and opportunities your clients can have in getting around the state. Just looking at our state, as I mentioned, we are a state of an extraordinary contrast. So whether clients want to experience some top award-winning wines, they can come down to Margaret River. Camel trekking on famous Cable Beach up in Broome. The Bungle Bungle is 350 million years old. Australia's widest beach, known in the region of Esperance, called Lucky Bay. We have the world's largest fringing reef, Ningaloo. We have an amazing wildflower season and an incredible outback. And there's many ways to see this. A couple of ways to get around the state quite easily is looking at some of our air tours around WA. Those who may not be aware, instead of using the long term of Western Australia, we often refer to ourselves as WA. This is a company called Bill Peach Journeys. They handle what's called air cruising. So very similar to a coach tour, but done in a luxurious aircraft in and around the country, all over Australia. But in particular today, I'd like to show you their 12-day Northwest Air Cruise. This is fantastic because this journey actually departs from Darwin and returns back to Darwin. So in there we leave from Darwin. It actually just departs from Darwin, so it would be great to add some of those experiences that Amanda mentioned earlier and then connect up with this particular journey. This trip is a 12-dayer that will fly up to Pernulu National Park, where clients can see the Bunga Bungles, Cathedral Gorge, the Echidna Chasm, then to a very ancient Karijini National Park, one of the most amazing parks in Australia. Then taking in Ningaloo Reef, as I mentioned, the world's largest fringing reef. Then on to Cape Range National Park. Then across to Broome. Then finally to experience the horizontal waterfalls. There's an image of it right there on the right-hand side. Then Mitchell Falls just above that. And then Home Valley Station. This is an all-inclusive experience. The aircraft can vary anywhere from a 40-seater to a 24-seater to small aircraft, depending on the size of the group. It includes all meals, all taxes, accommodation. It has a very high standard. This is really for your luxury client that is looking for an all-inclusive holiday experience that includes top accommodation and top cuisine. Home Valley Station, there's a great shot of it on the bottom there. This is an Aboriginal-owned station just outside of the township of Kununurra, located in the East Kimberley. So that's going to be where you'll find the Bunga Bungles. So definitely a highlight for anyone looking for some great air cruising within Australia. There's another company, a smaller company, that's just started a really unique tour called the Kimberley Aerial Highway. And this is by a company called Broome Aviation. I've listed the websites on each of the pages here so you can source out more information. They are fantastic in offering anywhere from a 2-seater to a 4-seater up to a 20-seater aircraft. This too leaves from Darwin, going across a similar itinerary to the one I just mentioned with Bill Peach, but we're really looking at more of the 4-star experience, not as high-end luxury as you would find with Bill Peach Journeys, but it is going to the top attractions up in the Kimberley and includes great accommodations such as Echo Beach right on the beach there. On the bottom slide to the right, you can see that cave. That's Echo Beach to give you an idea. Of course, camel trekking on famous Cable Beach and all of the top attractions in the Kimberley. And both of these companies have been going for about 30 years, so they have the experience and the knowledge and fantastic guides to take your clients around the region. Offering contrasting experiences, I thought I'd put forward this itinerary. This is one that's provided by Travel2. And what I love about this itinerary, it's a great example on how when you bring your clients to Western Australia, you can include some of the best of what we have on offer, and clearly just in 15 days. So what we're looking at for an itinerary here, we would be starting in the township of Perth, heading over to Fremantle. So we're going to leave from Perth, which is sort of this orange area here. We're going to head down to the green here, which is our Mediterranean climate. Sorry, the slide's moving ahead of me. Bear with me. Then we're going to go from the Mediterranean climate up into our golden outback and then across to the Ningaloo Reef area. So it's going to take in, as I say, some of the best of areas. So we'll have wine country, we'll have wildflowers, we'll have rock formations, we'll have our beautiful southern forest, which 60% of what's there can be found nowhere else on the planet. The wildflower season, 12,000 species of wildflowers, 80% of that found nowhere else on Earth. This is a fantastic way, and also includes Kalgoorlie, which will bring them into our gold mining, and then finally into Monkey Mia, where they can actually hand feed the dolphins. So as I say, this can be a great itinerary for anyone looking for a self-drive or private luxury four-wheel drive, or there are many coach tours that do a similar itinerary. The train journeys in Western Australia, probably the most prominent train journey to consider is looking at the Indian Pacific. Great Southern Rail offers a fantastic journey for an east-west experience. Clients can go from all the way from Sydney across to the city of Perth. One of the tours I definitely recommend is to take it from between Adelaide and Kalgoorlie, which is a great option. The train stops in Kalgoorlie before it heads on to Perth, clients, if they want, can get off in Kalgoorlie for about 3 days and then hop back on the train to get back to Perth. Attractions in Kalgoorlie are the goldfields. This is home to the super pit. Basically, it's a very large hole in the ground, and this particular mine puts out more gold than almost any mine in the world. So it's great for clients to get in and see a fantastic tour of the mines, hear the history of the area. Not far is the township of Gwalia, which is a very well-known ghost town. Unique to this particular ghost town is the image on the far bottom right-hand side, and that actually is an image of Herbert Hoover, yes, the American president's guest house. And this is actually where he stayed. He actually ran the mines in this particular area, and you can see off in the distance right there is the mine. So he really had a bird's-eye view of the mines. There's some fantastic history about what Herbert Hoover did for the mining industry here, and if clients wish to stay overnight, they can do so. Also, we've got the Gormley statues, which is the image just above Herbert Hoover House, and there are 51 of these amazing statues placed all over a dry salt lake bed out here in the outback region, and clients could actually walk from one to the next. So they are about 20 feet tall, and it is a fascinating sight to see. The wildflower season in this region pretty much goes for 6 months of the year from July, and really, as I say, a spectacular sight to see, especially when you're sitting on the Indian Pacific Train and looking out at pretty much nothing at some point and then coming across these amazing sprays of wildflowers. This is something unique only in Australia. It's the world's longest golf course adventure. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about this particular experience. You can see there's a map there that kind of shows at the bottom. I don't know how well you can see from where you're sitting there, but it pretty much travels between Adelaide and the township of Kalgoorlie. This is real. It's over 850 miles. Probably if clients are looking at doing the shortest trek on this would be about 5 days. You can see some of the images there of some of the amazing locations. This is really starting to get clients into leaving from the city of Adelaide, small township of Adelaide, into some of the outback towns along the coast, and then along into the township of Kalgoorlie. Clients can golf all 18 holes. There is 1 hole per town as you travel. Actually, Kalgoorlie has 2 of the holes. But what's really fantastic, when clients do finish the course, they get a certificate saying that they have golfed the world's longest golf course. Then, of course, for further contrast for Western Australian experiences, we have Ningaloo Reef. There's nothing like it. And in fact, what's unique about our reef is that it is the closest fringing reef close to shore. And you can see from the image right there at the bottom that you simply walk from shore and do some amazing snorkeling and diving of Ningaloo Reef. The main access to the reef is via the township of Exmouth. If you were to fly from Perth, it'll take you about 2 hours to fly into Exmouth. Exmouth is actually the prime location if clients want to swim with whale sharks. So you need to be in Exmouth if you want to experience that. And we've got some fantastic operators like King's Ningaloo Reef Tours that offer that fantastic experience. One I've listed here is called Navy Pier. If you have any underwater photographers or people who generally just love photography and also want a marine experience, be sure to include Navy Pier. Navy Pier was an American naval base that's been abandoned, and there's a pier out there, and over time it's basically been left to sit there, and it offers some of the most amazing collection of marine life, and it's a photographer's dream. So highly recommend that. It's only about 30 minutes from the township of Exmouth. If clients were looking for further interest as far as Ningaloo Reef, consider putting them out at Coral Bay. Coral Bay is just about 2 hours south from the township of Exmouth. There's a wonderful operator there called Sail Ningaloo, and they offer anywhere from 3 to 5 night liveaboard experiences. This is a type of experience where if you are a snorkeler, you'll be quite comfortable and content being on their vessel. This is not a die-hard dive vessel, although they do cater to divers as well. Then finally, we have 2 other locations to consider when looking at Ningaloo Reef, and that is Monkey Mia and Shark Bay. And Monkey Mia is where many of you who are familiar with this particular region would know of as the place to actually hand feed dolphins. For 30 years, the same pod of dolphins have been coming into Monkey Maya, and it's quite a spectacular treat. It's in a very much a natural setting, not so much as an organized tour. You simply walk from the beach and hand feed these amazing marine creatures. To give you an idea, with Ningaloo Reef, we have the world's largest number of dugongs, and I'll show you a couple of pictures here of some of the marine life you can get in this amazing part of Western Australia. So we have a picture at the top right-hand corner there of the dugong, and as I say, we have the largest number anywhere in the world. We've got 4 types of sea turtles that can be found. In Shark Bay, they are home to these unique little organisms at the bottom of the slide in the middle there, known as the stromatolites. And there's only a few places on Earth where these can be found. And believe it or not, they are living organisms, and they actually brought life to the planet. So they bring oxygen into the air. So there's a lot of unique experiences to take in when you're looking at Ningaloo. And of course, you can see from the images all these types of marine experiences you can have coming to Ningaloo. And then certainly the whale sharks, as I mentioned, is another highlight, very much a bucket list attraction when coming to Ningaloo. From pretty much March through July, you can swim with these amazing creatures. They're actually not a shark or a whale. They're really big fish. They're about the size of the public bus. So these are the experiences that one could have when looking at planning itineraries for Western Australia. Here are my contact details. If I can help you at any time, feel free to reach out via email or by phone, and I'll be happy to work with you. This concludes our presentation today. We thank you all for joining us. And again, email or phone any of us, and we'd be happy to help you with your Australian holiday experience for your clients. Thank you.